Good afternoon and welcome to the news. I am Doreen Kaloko. Coming up in this edition of news are President Elizabeth Nkrumah and First Lady Sia Nyama Nkrumah return home after attending the 71st session of the UN General Assembly in New York. Police arrest 12 gang ringleaders called Fivos accused of inciting youth violence in the country. A Ghanaian company, Suba Info Solutions, win the bid for the International Gateway Monitoring System. Customers express concern over what they say is the introduction of GST on electricity charge. All the stories, including business and sports, light up in this edition of News Hour. President Elizabeth Nkrumah and First Lady Sia Nyama Nkrumah have returned home after attending the 71st session of the UN General Assembly in New York. Razia Pashkamara sent in this report.
On arrival at the Freetown International Airport, Lungay, the President and the First Lady, Mrs. Sia Nyama Nkrumah, were received by the Vice President, Dr. Victor Bokari Fall, the Paramount Chief of Kafubulam Chiefdom, and other government officials. While in New York, President Ernest Bai Koroma signed the Treaty Paris Agreement, Paris of the 12th of December 2015, geared towards the promotion of international legal framework on human mobility at the ground floor of the United Nations General Assembly building in New York. Also at the United Nations headquarters in New York, His Excellency the President held bilateral talks with the President of the General Assembly, Peter Thompson, where they discussed the Security Council reform, climate change, the Sustainable Development Goals, and the Ebola Recovery Program. En route to his hotel, President Ernest Bai Koroma was welcomed by Sierra Leoneans at the Dag Hammarskjöld Gardens, First Avenue in New York. During his stay in New York, President Ernest Bai Koroma also held closed-door discussions with United Nations Secretary-General Ban Ki-moon on the way forward for the implementation of the Ebola Recovery Program. The President also attended a Mission Israel high-level meeting together with other African heads of states and governments, which was chaired by the Israeli President Benjamin Netanyahu at the Conference Room E, United Nations General Assembly building in New York.
Vice President Victor Bokari Fall has said government will continue to strengthen the excellent bilateral that has existed between China and Sierra Leone some 45 years ago. He was speaking during a courtesy call on him by a team from Confucius Institute Art Performance of the Gannan Normal University in China. Thomas Ned reports.
Introducing the team to Vice President Dr. Victor Bokari Fall, the Deputy Vice Chancellor, University of Sierra Leone, Professor Sir Bamanja, informed the visitors that the Vice President was instrumental in ensuring that the university benefited from China. He said the team is here as part of the celebration of the 45 years bilateral relationship between the two countries and also to celebrate the 5 years anniversary of the setting up of Confucius University in the country. Professor Bamanja highlighted to the team what China has done to the University of Sierra Leone and Frabe College, such as scholarships to students and staff exchange. Vice President Dr. Victor Bokari Fall said China and Sierra Leone have been together for 45 years, stressing that the relationship has grown from strength to strength. He reminded the team that Sierra Leone led the debate to take China to the Security Council, maintaining that China appreciates this role played by Sierra Leone.
You know, China and Sierra Leone have so much in common that when I went to the rural areas, their lifestyle, their living standards, their way of everything is just like Sierra Leone. So through this relationship with Confucius Institute building, I hope China and Sierra Leone will continue to maintain their friendship and build upon it really to a higher level.
我相信通过孔子学院这个平台，我们两个的关系会发展得更好。
So I always pledge myself, my sister, and whatever I can do to promote this relationship.
Vice President Dr. Victor Bokarifo said Sierra Leone has enjoyed the support from China, such as health, education and infrastructure. The Deputy Vice Chancellor of Ghana Normal University, Professor Zhu, assured Sierra Leone of China's support at all times. He said even though China and Sierra Leone are millions of miles apart, they can still support each other.
A Ghanaian company, Subab Info Solutions, has won the bid for the International Gateway Monitoring System. The bidding process was put out by the National Telecommunication Commission. The International Gateway Monitoring System will fast-track data traffic and provide quality service for affordable internet in the country. Here's the reports. The International Gateway Monitoring System is expected to help the National Telecommunication to effectively monitor the activities of all networks in the country. With the practice of Steambox in the country, the International Gateway will reduce negative practices which are presently causing the mobile companies and NATCOM to lose huge sum of money. The Director of Consumer Corporate Affairs, NATCOM, Abdul Kiyate, said the International Gateway Monitoring System is a step in the right direction which will help improve on the country's national economic growth. Board Chairman of the National Telecommunications, Momo Conte, said that over the years, the Commission has been striving to address the awarding of contract of the International Gateway Monitoring System to competent company with the aim of making the right choice. He said that the Commission went through a thorough selection process to identify a competent company. He said that he does not have any interest in any of the companies that bidded.
We have seen so many articles on social media. In fact, one of the articles alleged that the chairman is at loggerheads with the president. The president is supporting a company called Subab, and I'm supporting a company called Global Voice, and that I've even threatened to blackmail the family of the president. I want to make it very clear here, not at any single time did the president call me to tell me who to give or interfere in the process. He has never done so, not in this process.
Mr. Conte told the press that they have taken the transnational DSTV to court for the increase on paying for the DSTV services, and they are waiting on the outcome of the courts. Deputy Director General of the National Telecommunications Commission, Victor Finley, said that the International Gateway Monitoring System bidding process went through international and local media procurement process to ensure a fair and transparency process. He said that due to the consistent fraud in the network services, they saw the need to have an international gateway monitoring system to mitigate and eliminate illegal network connections. Customers are frowned against the 15% tax on the recharge of meter top-up. Customer says the 15% is exorbitant and call for review of the tax. Daphne Nkema-Macaulay sent in this report.
The 15% is on the Electricity Distribution and Supply Authority meter top-up came as a surprise to many customers. Most business people believe that it is exorbitant and that they should have been sensitized on the increase. Kelly Wilson is a businessman engaged in designing and printing of documents. He expressed dissatisfaction over the sudden increase.
Well, yesterday we top up the inside the meter about 2 points every day. So I decided to go buy about 30,000 support. So I go buy 30,000 support, and the unit so then give me 18 units, 18.5. You know, because we meter one day go off, one day top up, one day don't day. You can always buy support, you don't left about 2 points or 1 point. So really yesterday I go buy support on a 30,000 support and give me 18.5. And why that's for me so? And I asked the agent and tell me say the system, they don't change the system.
The past month why they go buy credits and extra. I noticed how they buy if about 100,000 and then 80 something with a bullet. For this last week I go buy 100,000 credits. I found out in our 53.1 units. I noticed yes, reduction don't take place.
The sudden increase on the EDSA meter top-up is not the only problem people are complaining about. Daniel Johnson is a resident of Edward Lane. He said low voltage is another problem and that they should reinstate the operations of the old meter.
Me, I suggest that the government bring the old meter back and install them. Switching this meter, would you go pay 50,000 before 1 to 2 weeks? You don't vision I get and use. You see. So yeah, that because before they get let the place constrained, and this new meter, let them bring the old meter and come back.
SLBC has tried to get the response of EDSA but to no avail. But according to the public relations officer of the Ministry of Energy, Ahmed Fonike Bangura, the EDSA and the ministry are having a meeting to discuss on the issue on whether or not to reduce or maintain the increment of the meter top-up.
The Chinese ambassador to Sierra Leone, Zhao Yambo, has bid farewell to the Clerk of Parliament, Honorable Ibrahim Sisi, at the embassy at Spolu in Freetown. Ambassador Zhao Yambo has spent close to 4 years in Sierra Leone in his diplomatic assignment. Mawa Ali reports.
The Clerk of Parliament and senior administrative officials of the House arrived at the Chinese embassy in a joyful mood to express thanks and bid farewell to Ambassador Zhao Yambo. The Clerk of Parliament, Honorable Ibrahim Sisi, said Ambassador Yambo did a very good job in Sierra Leone throughout his stay. He commended him and the China government for their relentless efforts in combating the Ebola epidemic in Sierra Leone. He said China played a proactive role in saving the lives of Sierra Leoneans during that difficult time. Honorable Sisi noted the ambassador's intervention towards the rehabilitation of Parliament.
Your government, you assisted tremendously to rehabilitate Parliament. And then the PA system in Parliament, you tried very hard. And then you also not only concentrate on the structural, but you also looked at the physical. I mean, in terms of seeing that Parliament has a lot of old people. You say, I'll assist you to open up a clinic. So you assisted us to open up a clinic. You gave us an ambulance, a modern state-of-the-art ambulance, motorcycles, refrigerators, beds, and we are able to open up a small clinic. Now we have an opportunity to admit people there temporarily before they take them to the bigger hospitals. And you do not only on that, but you assist us to establish a link between our small clinic and the Chinese hospital.
He made mention of the state-of-the-art medical equipment, amongst others. Responding, Ambassador Zhao Yambo commended Parliament for acknowledging his work towards the development of Sierra Leone. He spoke about the long bilateral relationship between the two countries.
The help of China and thanks to the relationship between our two countries, definitely China will leading our best friend to have a very good development of your country. Okay. And I'm going, but the world is very small.
Yes.
And wherever I go, definitely I will keep, you see, and my stay in Sierra Leone in deep memory. And I will, you see, and miss Sierra Leone definitely. I will care and support Sierra Leone's development. I wish the prosperity of Sierra Leone. Okay. Thank you again.
Noting that China will continue to strengthen the ties between the two countries. He highlighted some of the support China has rendered to Sierra Leone and promise of his country's continued support at all times. SLBC News, Mahawa Aliyu, Freetown.
The National Publicity and Outreach Coordinator, Ajibu Jalo, has described recent allegations of the government of President Nkrumah spending $1 million on delegation to the ongoing UN summit in New York as malicious perception. He made the statement at a weekly press briefing hosted by the Ministry of Information and Communication. Here's the reports.
The National Publicity and Outreach Coordinator Ajibu Jalo said President Nkrumah led a total of 21 people, including support staff, to the United Nations Summit. He added that one of the key areas of President Nkrumah's agenda during the summit is the recovery of pledges from some United Nations members during the last meeting to support Sierra Leone financially, amounting to some $820 million.
And to say that we've spent $1 million is also a theft. If you, let's say for all intents and purposes, you pay one person $10,000 for the 6 days they're there, $10,000. If you multiply 10 by the 550 that they said, it's 500,000. So how do you get 1 million? Using their own figures. And when officials leave and attend conferences, the rate you pay per country is established by the UN, not us.
Also at the press briefing, the Minister of Energy, Ambassador Henry Macaulay, informed journalists that the issue of electricity should not be politicized with a focus to change its landscape. He added that consumers of electricity must conserve energy to minimize its risk. The Energy Minister explained about the regulation of tariff that due to the downward trend of the world economy, governments no longer provide subsidy. He said the charges levied on electricity tariff are not in dollar equivalents.
The reason for this is because when the tariff was set in 2008, the exchange rate was 2,900. That's the last time the tariff was set in 2008. Today, we all know what the exchange rate is. The spare parts that EDSA buys, the spare parts that EGTC buys, they are all denominated in dollars. The fuel that EDSA buys, the fuel that EGTC buys, they're all dollar related. So there was a need to adjust the tariff, not increase the tariff.
The minister said that the government has recommended that electricity building was not structurally safe due to persistent fire accidents, commenting on the relocation of EDSA office. For SLBC News.
Police in Kenema saved the life of a 28-year-old woman that was kidnapped and forcefully initiated into the Bondo society is no longer safe. Khadijatu Balima Aliyu said her life is in danger. According to the victim, Khadijatu Balima Aliyu, she was dragged into a house in Kenema where she was forcefully initiated and locked up in a room without food and contact with her parents for days. Detective Sergeant Isa Tanuma of the Kenema Police Division Family Support Unit explained to SLBC Safa Moriba why they think the victim is not safe. The Sierra Leone Association of Journalists has held a training session on the criminal libel law. Resource persons were lawyers from the United Kingdom that provided free legal services for SLAJ membership that were drawn from the Western area and the regions. The session is among steps towards the campaign for the repeal of the criminal libel law. Kevin Lewis is the president of the Sierra Leone Association of Journalists. He explains the significance of the training in this interview.
It's important for us to understand about the criminal libel law, and this session was very key because the criminal libel law was imported from the UK, and so we needed to have the experience of those who actually crafted it
to see how the law has evolved with them. Of course, they have repealed it, and to get them to explain to us their experiences and also help us as laymen in the law to understand it better. So it was key that we had these lawyers from the UK to help us to understand better what in effect is the criminal libel law.
Some aspects of copyright was also dealt into.
Yes, we also spoke about copyright, and it was interesting to learn about this new law and to be able to understand how it affects us as journalists and what benefits it has for us. Because I'm sure some journalists, some newspapers are now more au fait with the law and know that they can sue people who have been using their work without their authority.
Quite recently, there has been a campaign by SLASH in collaboration with civil society organizations. Can we have updates towards the repeal of these sections that criminalize this libel?
Well, what we're going to do, we're going to have the National Symposium next week on the 27th and 28th of September. It's going to be held at the Miata Conference Hall, where we're going to lay it bare, as they say. We're going to put the law in front of people, in front of civil society, in front of ordinary people, and tell them why this law is a bad law and why we need to repeal it. So we're going to be entertaining all sorts of views from across the landscape to see how they also can understand better how this law is a bad law and how it affects them. Because the normal thing is people think this law is only for journalists, but they don't understand, and we hope to make them understand on that day that it is a law which affects even the ordinary men. It affects everybody. But it is a very bad law because truth is not a defense. And given that for us journalists, the basis of our work is truth. When somebody says truth is not a defense, it is against natural justice.
That was the president of the Sierra Leone Association of Journalists, Kelvin Lewis. Executive director and co-founder of African Women has said she is in support of the Bundu Society, but that the choice must come from the girls. She made the disclosure during the launch of a nationwide campaign called Imitated, Not Mutilation, held at the National Elections Watch headquarters in Freetown. Ibrahim Samuel reports.
The Sierra Leone Women Are Free to Choose is a local chapter of All Women Are Free to Choose based in the United States of America as an international advocacy organization for the promotion of inter- and intra-gender equality of circumcised women and girls globally. According to Dr. Sia Amadou, the key focus of the campaign is to raise awareness among grassroots of Sierra Leonean women and adolescent girls of their constitutional right in the face of highly and aggressive anti-female genital mutilation campaigners.
Our Imitated Not Mutilated campaign celebrates the aesthetics of Sierra Leone's female circumcision procedures. Our traditional genital aesthetic operations are being imitated and marketed by Western doctors and hailed by predominantly white female patients of all ages who undergo labiaplasty, clitoropexy, and other identical forms of so-called female genital cosmetic surgeries.
She said they will raise awareness nationwide of the tactics used by Western anti-FGM campaigners to impart messages that the traditional practices of Sierra Leonean women, while maxing the popularity of these practices among women and teenage girls in their own countries.
I'm going to repeat that because we're hearing false information in the media. The bulk of the clitoris of a woman is beneath her skin. You cannot see it, and it cannot be removed without killing the woman or killing the girl. Bondo will not be banned in Sierra Leone. I repeat, Bondo will not be banned in Sierra Leone. As long as white British women and girls are enjoying the benefits of our excision practices, Bondo will not be banned in Sierra Leone. Your women and daughters will continue to imitate us, but they can never be us, and they can never beat us.
Dr. Sia Amadou also spoke about the tragic death of a 19-year-old Fatimata Touré.
These incidents I refer to include false rumors surrounding the tragic death of 19-year-old Fatimata Touré that were propagated worldwide by Equality Now, Forward UK, and the individual groups that they fund in Sierra Leone. False reports about a Sierra Leonean couple being arrested at a UK airport and an 11-year-old girl taken away into care. This was reported in The Guardian.
The Sierra Leone women are free to choose, says they are looking forward to engage stakeholders and welcome debates on the benefits of Bondo. Ibrahim Samura, Freetown.
Jela University is hosting a forum on integrated soil fertility management for food security project conference. The conference is held on the theme fostering capacity building and regional integration in the field of integrated soil fertility management. Francis Danema attended the opening ceremony and dinner reports.
The management for food security, also known as capacity for food projects, was to find methods to improve the soil facility in West Africa for improved agricultural activities. The universities discovered during the implementation of the project that the combination of organic and inorganic manure can enrich the fertility of the soil and increase crop yield. The project coordinator for the 5 universities, Jaman Lopez, said the final conference will be focusing on how to roll out the new idea developed by the universities to all farmers in West Africa. He pointed out that the innovation has been tested in the demonstrative plots in every benefiting university and has been proven to be effective. National Coordinator, Capacity for Food Project, Ali Kamara says Jela University has gone beyond demonstration, stressing that some farmers have started implementing the idea in the country. He said the combination of organic and inorganic manures will prevent farmers from practicing bush fallowing.
So what we look at now is it's possible for the farmers stay now one and take care of the land. You go for this soil for like give you better yield. You go for take care of it. Then the fertility maintenance come, fertility management come. And the integrated facility will say, okay, resources then scarce, fertilizer there, organic manure for like get an insect with ranga. But if you combine the two, it brings small manure, it brings small fertilizer, that will give you the effect where you look for. It will give good yield.
Acting Vice Chancellor, Jela University, Professor Ernest Ndomaina, described the conference as timely, pointing out that the African continent has lost important soil nutrients due to climate change and human activities. He called on the Agricultural Sciences faculty to cascade the idea to all farmers in the country.
Next is business updates with Judith Sana.
Hello and welcome to the business updates. We begin with the foreign exchange rates. The US dollar buys at 6,376 pounds and sells at 6,505 pounds. Pound sterling buys at 8,322 pounds and sells at 8,494 pounds. Euro buys at 7,149 pounds and stands at 7,291 mints. That's the foreign exchange rate courtesy of the central bank. The meeting has sent minor Rutile and Australian counterpart Iluka Resources, which is interested in a $215 million merger, have agreed to extend their talks over the merger for another 30 days. Lucien Ganda reports.
This comes after the German Antitrust Authority decided to scrutinize the deal by invoking a Phase 2 review, which can take up to 3 months. According to their merger implementation agreement, the two companies had an initial 5 working days, which lapsed on the 14th of this month, to decide whether to go ahead or break the deal. Sierra Rutile and Iluka have, however, decided to extend the period of consultation to a further 30 days. Business News, Lucien Ganda reporting.
Senior editors and producers from various media houses have been trained to promote distributed renewable energy as the key to achieving universal energy access faster, cheaper, and in a more sustainable manner. The training, which was organized by Power for All, was held at the Hub Hotel Conference Room, Wilberforce. Here is the report.
Provides the platform to share information as well as tools to accelerate the growth of the distributed renewable energy market. According to Power for All, the engagement with the media is part of a series of engagements to equip the media with information on energy access, market intelligence, and evolving trends. Energy, they say, is central to sustainable development, and it's an enabler to health, education, agriculture, and it improves a nation's economy. Amidumbuya is the campaign leader, Power for All Sierra Leone.
Our work now is focused on the energy revolution. On May 10th, the government of Sierra Leone and the UK government signed an energy compact agreement. And in that compact, the aim is to accelerate energy access, right? And at the energy revolution, I think I saw most of you, the government made a pronouncement of connecting about 50,000 homes by end of this year and 250,000 by next year. And how they were going to do that was by committing itself to waiving importation, duty on importation and removing GST, so that the products are affordable to the rural poor, and making sure that the private companies come in and get their goods out the key in a good enough time. And the government, we'll hear from the government today, they've been very, very much hands-on in making sure that, over 89% of our people in the rural communities that aren't on the grid to get energy access, and that's what the campaign supports the government on.
Other areas include the overall transition in global energy from fossil fuel to renewables, the emerging solar market in Sierra Leone, product features and benefits, Sierra Leone energy access overview, renewable potential and case studies, human stories, school campaign, communities' perspectives, sources of energy access information, and the role of the media in the campaign form part of the engagement led by representatives from UNIDO, RIA Sierra Leone, Ministry of Energy, and IBIS. However, access to renewable energy has the potential to help raise people in developing nations out of poverty. Meanwhile, as power is fundamental to human, yet over 2 billion people around the world are without access to renewable electricity. While the United Nations has identified universal energy access as a global imperative, energy experts predict it will cost $700 billion and take nearly a quarter of a century to achieve that goal. Business News, Lucien Ganda.
Well, that's the business of this. Many thanks for your time. I'm Judith Sana. Goodbye.
Thanks to Judith Sana for the business update within One Up Story. A 5-man delegation from South Korea has paid a courtesy call on senior management of the Salem Broadcasting Corporation at Broadcasting House, New England. The delegation, headed by a renowned movie actor, John Lee Wang, otherwise known as Golden Fox, was to get first-hand information on the operation of the state broadcaster and see what possible assistance could be rendered. Abubakar Bangura reports.
The team comprises business people, a broadcaster, and technical experts is visiting the state broadcaster to see for themselves which assistance could be provided with regards to transforming from analog to digital broadcasting. The aim is also to identify challenges facing the corporation, create partnership based with the Korean Broadcasting Corporation (KBC). The delegation is coming at a time when the SLBC is preparing for digitalization and is in dire need of assistance to realize this dream. Head of delegation John Lee Huang, known as Golden Fox, president of the World Martial Arts Federation, was pleased to visit the state broadcaster and discuss partnership with the corporation.
Crew in Korea. Any kind of can do it. So even a TV too. So I talked to Mr. Yang and told you. Okay. 여기 모든 일들은 잘 되나 그걸로 보고.
He said it is a great honor for him to meet with the management of the state broadcaster to find out some of the challenges hitting the corporation. The head of delegation said he is interested in the development of the state broadcaster and will do all in its power to provide the needed support to sustain it. One of the members of the delegation, a professional technical broadcast expert from Korean Broadcasting Corporation, Dr. Young Kim, said 30 years ago Korea was broadcasting on analog system but has been transformed to digital broadcasting through satellite transmission with 26 channels accessible in every part of Korea. He said the KBC is also being viewed through smartphones, computers with highly digital network system. Dr. Kim said when all proposals are designed, a new digital system will be installed that can stand all types of weather and be viewed in every part of the country and the world through satellite. He said with the digitalization process, new content technology and network broadcast system will be installed. Dr. Kim encouraged management of the SLBC to draw up a proposal factoring the needs of the corporation for its transformation from analog to digital.
Together.
예, 그러면 저희가 바로 이 전체를 한국의 최첨단 디지털 시스템으로 전환하고.
If you want, he can installation system of digital new one. If you want.
If you want. 폭우가 치든 천둥 번개가 치든 방송이 절대 끊어지지 않습니다.
Have nothing to do with the farasondal, rain, never problem. If you're using digital system. Before. Since 30 years, before 30 years, Korea was the same like that. Yes. Analog, 7 people operating.
예. 근데 현재는 4명이서 다.
Now it's 4 people control everything.
Oh, 4 people. 나머지 스튜디오에서 제작 시스템 인원들이 움직입니다.
And then after the people of the made the structure, here's content technology, system of the broadcasting.
그다음에 네트워킹 기술,
technology of network, have all.
그쪽으로 저희가 협조를 해드리면 상당히 이쪽 이 기술이 발전될 거라고.
He wanted to know, discuss detail of technique and cooperation.
The acting Deputy Director General SLBC, Samuel Valcasel, said management is looking forward to moving up from analog to digital broadcasting, but it is costly and requires partnership. He added that if there is a twinning from Sierra Leone to Korea, will help greatly to sustain the state broadcaster.
We are doing terrestrial or analog or over-the-air kind of broadcasting, which is not where the technology is at the moment. art has moved. What we are actually involved in at the moment as a corporation is means through which there will be this movement, this migration from analog to digital, and that is going to cost SLBC and Sierra Leone a lot of money. But it is the needful, because everyone, everywhere in broadcasting is moving towards that. We are not really able to broadcast to the entire country with same strength because of the kind of broadcasting we do these days. We want a situation where people in far-flung places like Kailang and Pujeong, that is towards our neighbors in Guinea and Liberia, will be able to get the same reception as those in Freetown and close to where we broadcast. So if there is a twinning situation between Sierra Leone and Korea, that will help in a great way. It will be an additional development for broadcasting in Sierra Leone.
The acting deputy director noted if the partnership with Korea is established, it will enhance the culture and traditions of both countries through exchange programs and movies, adding that if the partnership is effective, the cooperation will reach to higher heights. He explained to the delegation about the challenges that needs to be addressed to achieve the digitalization. He appealed to the delegation to come to the aid of the SLBC, as whatever assistance from Korea will be highly appreciated by management. The delegation was taken on a conducted tour by the Director of Engineering, Alhaji Bangura, to the transmission room, the radio and television studios, the newsroom and the editing department. However, as part of the visit, a delegation from Korea will pay a visit to the SLBC to finalize further arrangements for partnership. The team is also interested in investing in agriculture, energy and the fishing sector. SLBC News, Abubakar Bangura, Freetown.
Well, coming up next is sports updates with David Patali Kamala.
Thank you very much. Well, for sports update, we start on a sad note. Tributes are still pouring in for the late Sierra Leonean midfielder Mamadou Alpha Joba, who passed away on Wednesday after he was involved in a gruesome road accident. Alpha Joba was laid to rest on Thursday after prayers at the Umar bin Al-Khattab Mosque. Here's the story. Remains of former Sierra Leone international midfielder Mamadou Alpha Joba, who died after a gruesome road accident at Goderich, were laid to rest on Thursday. The 39-year-old, who made over 25 appearances for Sierra Leone, was driving when a truck coming from the opposite direction hit his car. Family, friends and the sports family paid their last respect to the former mighty Blackpool player. Representatives from the Ministry of Sports, including the Minister and his deputy, the National Sports Council and the Sierra Leone Football Association (SLFA), extended condolences to the bereaved family of the late midfielder. Ba was one of the most talented players of his generation in Sierra Leone and was a key player for the national team between 2000 and 2008. His debut with Leone Stars was in 2000 against the Super Eagles of Nigeria, and his last international was against the Super Eagles again in 2008, an encounter that saw Leone Stars victorious in a 1-0 finish at the Circa Stevens Stadium. At club level, he played in Belgium for KSC Lokeren from 1994 to 1996 before he transferred to South Korea to play for Chunam Dragons in 1997. He moved to China 2 years later to become the first Sierra Leonean to play in the Chinese Super League, starring with Xiamen Lanshi from 1999 to 2003 and Zhenjuan Linchuan in 2004. Sierra Leone football legend Mohamed Kalon, who was captain of Leone Stars when Ba was playing for the national team, said the death of the attacking midfielder is a great loss. Current Leone Stars captain Umaru Zingele Bangura said, "I'm shocked and devastated. It's sad. This is a big loss for Sierra Leone football. May his soul rest in peace." Alfajo was described by many as a gentleman and a kind-hearted person who kept a low profile in and off the pitch of play. David Patrick Kamara, SLBC.
May his soul rest in peace. The Ministry of Sport has launched its website at the conference hall of the ministry. The website, www.mos.govsl, will align the sports ministry and the rest of the world on the affairs of the ministry and to address the social challenges of the sports sector. Here's the report.
Establishment of websites to provide the requisite information to the rest of the world has become an integral part in the administrative and governance system. It is against this backdrop that the Ministry of Sport launched its website. Chairman of the ceremony, National Coordinator in the Office of the Government Spokesman Ajibu Tijan Jallo, said the importance of sports cannot be overemphasized, as it can be used for not only health and recreational purposes but a source of employment for many. Minister of Sports Ahmed Kanu said upon taking up leadership of the ministry, he realized that there is need for a strategy that will form the roadmap for the ministry. He described the new website as a platform for all to interact, adding that gone are the days when sports will be in the news for the wrong reasons.
We create a platform to articulate the interest of young people. And so I'm personally proud that you are all here to witness that laudable beginning, that innovative beginning of where we want to take sports. Some of us who are politicians will say one of the final legacy projects of His Excellency the President will reposition sports for the sustainable development goals. Because if you check and analyze the population of Sierra Leone, you'll come to realize that about 50 to 60% of young people characterize this population. So the safest and most conducive avenue of mobilize their thinking, of getting them to shoulder high the national flag will be through sports.
The minister said following the launch of the website will be the sports conference, which will attract members of the sports family to a roundtable discussion where solutions will be proffered and ideas and experiences shared. The conference will take place in Makeni from the 3rd to the 5th of November. Launching the website, Minister of State 2, Ministry of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation, Aissata Kabir, applauds the minister and his team for a laudable venture. Madam Kabir promised to trumpet the good work of the ministry to her ministry's foreign partners.
This is a demonstration of sports as a platform where we can get sportsmen and women that we admire in Sierra Leone. And we want to start to generate and create and develop our own international sportsmen that others can admire. This is sports for unity. Idle minds, we've seen the effect of that in our country, and we want to make sure that our youth are occupied, whether sports for leisure or sports as a career. There's great opportunity in that. And we will take this good news that the Ministry of Sports is demonstrating to ensure that we work with our international partners at my ministry for more support behind this laudable venture. I now declare the Ministry of Sports website officially launched. Thank you.
Various partners in the sports sector, including the Director of Cabinet Affairs, Sonia Karim, Minister of Youth Affairs, Bai Mahmoud Bangura, and head of various associations, welcomed the idea of having a website that will serve as a research center and call on the ministry to continue in its development strides. After different associations will have submitted vital information to the Sports Ministry, the website will provide detailed activities and credible statistics of its athletes and administrators, among others. The ministry is therefore calling on administrators to submit vital information to the ministry as soon as possible. David Patrick Mara, SLBC.
I'll now bring you the fixtures in the English Premier League tomorrow. Leicester City will travel to Old Trafford to take on Manchester United. Everton will take on Bournemouth. Hull City will travel to the Anfield Stadium to take on Liverpool. Tottenham will travel to Middlesbrough. West Brom will travel to the Britannia to take on Stoke City. Crystal Palace will travel to the Stadium of Light to take on Sunderland. Manchester City will travel to Swansea, and of course Chelsea will travel to Emirates Stadium to take on Arsenal. But that's the latest in sport. Bye.
Well, to end the news, we look at the main points again. President Ernest-Barry Koroma and First Lady Sia Nyama Koroma have returned to Freetown after attending the 71st session of the UN General Assembly in New York. Police have arrested 12 gang leaders called Fighters accused of inciting violence in the country. A Ghanaian company, Suba Info Solutions, won the bid for the International Gateway Monitoring System. Customers have expressed concern over what they say is the introduction of GST on electricity charge. But that's what in this edition of News are. Broadcast live on the Seal Broadcasting Corporation in Freetown. On behalf of my news editor, Abubakar Bambura, news producer, Daphne Zana Kamara, I am Grace Kaloko in Freetown. Please follow part of our program. You send us an email to contact us at slbc.sf. Thanks for watching. Have a wonderful day.